Very tactile and really...
Mission Control, the space pod has landed.
Hey everybody, Space Pod here. We are riding the 2016 FZ6R by Yamaha. Thanks to Zach Yates for donating this bike for Saturday. Here it is. I just put gas in it. It's only got about 1,000 miles on it. It is broken in. It's very easy to ride, very easy to foot, short rider friendly. It's a very sort of upright seating position, and this is definitely a competitor and in the same class as the CBR 650F and the Ninja 650. Now, first gear on this thing, taking off, is supremely easy. All I can say is it's very forgiving. And if you're a new rider, this bike is easily well within your skill set as long as you don't go crazy on the throttle. But the throttle will not surprise you. You have to work very hard to get out of shape on this thing. It's just very, very gentle power delivery. It is an inline 4. The CBR 650F by Honda is also an inline 4. Unlike the Ninja 650 by Kawasaki, that is a torquey parallel twin. Redline on this is just under 12,000 RPM, and it's got plenty of get up and go if you give it the berries. The gauge cluster here is supremely easy to read, even in full sunlight. It comes with sport touring tires. Now keep in mind, these bikes, especially the CBR 650F and this bike, the FZ6R by Yamaha, have steel frames. So what this does is it adds a little bit of weight, and I'm sure it reduces cost for the buyer. Now normally I like to flash my high beams at people like that, but there is no flash to pass switch, which, yeah, I'm used to having it. I do like it. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to know. All the controls are exactly where you'd expect them. Very easy to get to, very tactile, and really very tactile and easy to get to. The throttle feels excellent. Now, this is a tale of redemption because I tried the 2011 FZ6R and I hated it, and then I got a ticket. How's that for a vlog? You don't like the bike, and then you get a ticket on that bike. Murals, who is now known as Sin City Slick, actually paid for my ticket, so thank you, Sin City. I think he paid for the ticket or paid for half. He felt bad. It wasn't his fault, but thank you anyway. Sin City Slick, check him out. He is now on a Daytona 675R. This is a steel frame bike, so you feel the weight when you're moving it around in the garage and whatnot, or in your parking space. But once you're underway, that weight disappears, and this is true for most any heavier bike. Low speed maneuvers, you do feel it again. This takeoff is so nice. I'm exactly right on time for Mike. The friction point on the clutch is fantastic. I don't have to wrestle with it. The kickstand is very easy to deploy. Even for myself, I'm 5'3". Now careful, it's top heavy because of that steel frame. So don't lean it over too much for any reason when you're at a stop, especially if you're short of inseam. Let's see, kickstand. Right there's a nub on the end. One kick, first try, easy to deploy. Make sure you're in first gear if you're pointing downhill. So again, this is 2016 FZ6R by Yamaha. They have many colors. This is the black with the red frame. As you can see, it's very nice looking. That rear tire is a 160. That's an unusual size. This has an under-engine exhaust. As far as mass centralization, which is something Honda touted a lot, this has it in spades, and you're also not getting heat too close to your body, which is nice. Infographic. Boom. The graphics are nice and subdued, solid color black, and we have sort of a Cyclops GSXR look. The mirrors are actually pretty good. They work really well, and it's a very upright position. Keep in mind on this bike, there are 2 seat heights and 2 bar positions. Right now this is in low position, low seat height, low bar position. The front brakes are pretty confidence inspiring. The rear brake is not going to kill you. It's nice and gentle, as a rear brake should be. We're going to do a little bit more of a test in a bit. This bike so far, I mentioned the weight earlier. It's a little top heavy, and that's because of the steel frame. That does make it a little cheaper for the buyer, but you know, the downside is you definitely feel that weight at low speed maneuvering. but it does tend to disappear pretty nicely when you're underway. Cornering feels pretty good. These are sport touring tires, Bridgestone Battle Axe. The rear is actually an odd size. It's a 160, and on a lot of middleweights you'll see a 180 around that area, but 160 seems to be sort of an oddball. But I'm sure Yamaha had a good reason for that, because you don't want to over-tire a bike. This is a detuned R6 engine. Inline 4, revs just under 12K. The cornering on this thing feels pretty good. It's pretty neutral. Now, I rode the 2011. I hated the fueling. I can say confidently that they fixed that for the 2016 year, which this is. So good job, Yamaha. I would heartily recommend this as a beginner bike or an experienced rider bike. Probably cheaper to insure, very comfortable. It's not overly committed, and it feels good in the corners, and you got plenty of power to get out of situations or get yourself into situations. But the fueling is actually quite perfect. Yeah, it's very good. Super forgiving. Any beginning rider can easily ride this bike, I think. Yeah, you start to feel the weight as you slow down a little bit. Super easy to ride though, very comfortable. It's got these nice rubber coated pegs, or I should say rubber covered pegs. And they're quite comfortable, they absorb vibrations nicely. The rough stuff, suspension deals with the rough stuff very nicely. And of course we have plenty of passing power on this thing. There's no gear indicator on this bike from what I can see. Please use the turnout. Thank you. Thank you. Foot wave. It's a little tricky to get to the shifter because of the way the pegs are, but that can be all fixed. The seating position is pretty good. It's pretty neutral. You're not being shoved into the tank or anything weird. It's quite narrow at the waist, which is good for shorter riders. This thing though, you could cruise all day on it. Front brakes are quite good, nice and linear. This bike's fun though. I think a beginner would really like this. And the fueling is fantastic. This bike is not going to mess you up mid-corner and overwhelm with the power delivery. It's very smooth, very civilized. Ooh, little bump there. Good amount of power. It is very linear. It's not going to surprise you or act uncivilized. It's just smooth power. Very usable. Bars are in an excellent position. And these are bars, not clip-ons. So I would say between the CBR 650F and this bike, both are pretty much neck and neck. I do like the CBR 650F a lot, as well as styling. And I like both of those bikes, or these bikes, better than the Ninja 650. The Ninja 650 seating position really doesn't work for me too much, although it is torquey and fun. But I like these inline 4s quite a bit, despite the steel frames. It's very comfortable too, the suspension. I weigh between 155, 160, and it's doing fine. I don't think I would change anything about it right now, maybe get my sag checked, but a lot of these bikes are made for the weight that I am, so that's convenient. Corners are easy. It's easy to complete a corner. Turn in feels great, nice and neutral. I think it's an all-around solid bike. Spacepod thumbs up. Yeah, if you're in the market for a bike and you don't want a smaller bore bike like a Ninja 300 and you want a fairing for all-day riding protection on the freeway, it's good. You can grow into it. It's got all the speed you're gonna want. It's a little top heavy, so don't go leaning it over too much, it stops. But otherwise, very easy to foot, very comfortable, all day comfortable, easily. Great seat, passing power is quite good. Even in 6th gear, that was 6th gear. Good job, Yamaha. Price point on this is derp. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been Space Pod. Space Pod out.